Okay, so we have third year revision today, so we're just going to multiply out these equations and see how it goes. So when you're multiplying out, just remember to multiply both numbers. So that's going to get you 3x, 3 multiplied by x, 3 multiplied by minus 2 is minus 6, and this equals 2x plus 5. Now your next step is to move the x's over one side and the numbers that haven't got x on the other side, okay? So what you're going to end up here is you're going to end up with 3x minus 2x equals 5 plus 6. Now remember, minus 6 changes to plus 6 and 2x changes to minus 2x. Then we're going to get 1x equals 5 plus 6, which is 11. So therefore x equals 11. Now please remember, this is a solved question. So for solved questions, you're expecting x to be equal to an answer, and that answer is 11. Okay, next question. Factorize x squared minus 25, okay? Now this is a special type of question, okay, and we covered this before. A squared minus b squared equals a plus b, a minus b. So what you can do here is you can change this into x squared. Now put in the square root of 25. Now we identify this number as 1. If you see the numbers 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, these are special numbers, and therefore you have to be aware that it could be this type of question. Now if they're both squares and there's a minus in the middle, this is what's called the difference of two squares formula. So we can say that that's x squared minus 5 squared, okay? Now if we're to put this into the formula, you can see that x squared minus 5 squared, you can see that a is now x and b is now 5, okay? So what we can do here is we can just write out the formula. This is going to be x plus 5, and then it's going to be x minus 5. So your answer is going to be x plus 5, x minus 5. Now this question here is also a factorized question, and for this factorized question we got to take out what's in common. Factorize means just make it look differently, okay? So let's take out what letters do you have in common. So we can take out a here, and when we take out, remember to pair them up into, if you have four terms, pair them up into two sets of 2, okay? So when we take out a, what we're going to be left with is a into b, because a multiplied by b is ab, and then if we take a out of the second one, we get minus 2x. Okay? The next one, we notice that they both have the letter m in common, so it's going to be plus, take out the letter m, and then m multiplied by b is mb, so m by b is mb, that's correct, and then you got to get minus 2x, because m multiplied by minus 2x is minus 2mx. Now what you're going to notice is that these two brackets are the same as each other, okay? So these two brackets are the same as each other, and because you know they're the same as each other, these guys make what's the second bracket b minus 2x, and then what's left in the first bracket is the numbers that aren't used, the a and the m. So we're going to get is a plus m into b minus 2x, okay? And it's actually the same number. If you were to multiply this out, you actually get the same answer, okay? Now, next step, factorize, okay? Now to factorize, what I always do is I always do what's called the reference number. I'll multiply the first number by the last number. So I'll multiply whichever number comes in front of x squared, and what always comes in front of x squared, if it's not written down, it's 1. Okay, so 1 multiplied by 12, so the reference number is 1 multiplied by minus 12. So you can see 1 and minus 12 is here, so the reference number is going to be minus 12. Now, to answer to factorize these questions, what you're always going to do is you're always going to have two brackets, okay? And these two brackets will always start off with an x in one and an x in the other. Your next step is to break up the minus 12 into two numbers that multiplied together to give you minus 12. So you could try the following numbers. You could try 2 and minus 6, minus 2 and 6. You could try 3 and minus 4, or minus 3 and 4. Now remember, these guys are in sets, so you have to use them both together. If you choose any one of them, they gotta come together. Now we're gonna try see which one of these actually work, okay? So we can't use minus 3 plus 4, because if we use minus 3 plus 4, that will make the middle number minus 1, and minus 1 is no good. This one here, that'll give us plus 1. Plus 3 minus 4 gives us minus 1, that's no good either. Minus 2 plus 6 gives us plus 4, and plus 4 is what we're looking for. So therefore we know the answer has to be minus 2 and plus 6. So it's x minus 2 and x plus 6, okay? Now if we were to multiply these out, we'd actually get this number back out. Now the next question is, hence, solve this equation. Now to solve this equation, what we do is we just put our answer down. We remember we changed x squared plus 4x minus 12 into this. So then we know that it's going to be x plus 6 and all of this equals 0. Now what we have here are two numbers, okay? You could have the blue number, or the blue term, which is x minus 2, and the red number. When you multiply one number by another number and it equals 0, it means either one of these numbers could be 0. So either the blue number is 0 or the red number is 0. So you can say x minus 2 equals 0, or you can say x plus 6 equals 0. So as you know from it before, you just move the numbers over to a different side and you get x equals minus 6. And for this one you bring over the 2 over the side and you get x equals 2. Okay. Next question, express this as a fraction in its simplest form. Now remember, there's three arrows here. You have a red arrow, you have a green arrow, and you have a blue arrow. Okay. Now remember to put all the numbers on top into brackets, okay? This prevents you making an error. So what happens here is the following. The first line is the red line. The red line means multiply 2 by 3, you get 6. The second line, which is the blue line, means multiply 3 by 5x minus 1. The third line is the green line, and the green line means multiply 2 by 4x minus 9. Okay? Now what's going to happen here is we're going to multiply these out. So 3 by 5x is 15x. 3 by minus 1 is minus 3. 2 by 4x is 8x's. 2 by minus 9 is minus 18. This is all over 6. Now what happens next is we're going to add the 15x to the 8x. And what we can get here is we'll get 23x's. Okay, so the blue line here, the blue numbers are 23x's. And then the red line, minus 3 minus 18 is minus 21. And that's all over 6. Okay, so that's all over 6. So you'll just use a black line for that. Okay, so that's all over 6. Now, next part. Okay, now what we got to do for the next part is we've got to use this answer. We've got to verify the answer, okay? So, in order to do this, so it's 23x. So we know that the answer to the first part is 23x minus 21 over 6. Now this question is asking us to verify your answer in part 1 by substituting x equals 3 into this equation here and into your answer in part 1. So let's do what it asks us, okay? The first thing it asks us to do is replace 3 into this formula, okay? So we're going to get is 5 bracket 3 minus 1 divided by 2 plus 4 bracket 3 minus 9 over 3. Okay, let's see what happens. 5 times 3, 15 minus 1 divided by 2 plus 12 minus 9 divided by 3. That's going to be 14 over 2 plus 3 over 3. And what that is going to give us is it's going to give us 7 plus 1. 14 over 2 into your calculator is 7. 3 divided by 3 in the calculator is 1. And the answer for that is going to be 8. Okay? Now, what we're testing is, in the first equation, we multiplied these out, and our answer was this. So to verify that these are actually the same thing, it's just like a makeover. So if we put x equals 3 into this equation, and then we put x equals 3 into this equation here, this means that both answers should be the same. So we're expecting this to come out as the answer of 8. So it's going to 23, and we're once again going to replace the x with 3. We're going to take away 21, and then we're going to divide by 6. And what's going to happen here is we're going to get 69. So 23 multiplied by 3 is 69. 69 minus 21 divided by 6, and that is the same thing as 48 divided by 6, and the answer is 8. Now since both answers is 8, we know that they're the same thing, so our answers are verified. Okay? Next question. Next question is multiplication. So what we got to do is we got to multiply this number here by this number here. Now to multiply, you put them beside you. Now remember, the combination is first number, or first term, second bracket, second term, second bracket. Okay? So the first term is the x. The x is going to go here. The bracket is going to be x squared minus 3x plus 11. And then, so that's the first term, second bracket. Now we're looking for the second term, which is minus 2, multiplied by the second bracket. Okay? Now all we got to do is just multiply these out. And when we multiply them out, we got to see what happens here. Okay? So, I'm sorry, this one goes here. Okay, so what happens is x by x squared is x cubed, or simply 3x's, because you're multiplying x by xx, which gives you 3x's xxx, which is x cubed. 3x squared for the next one, because it's going to be 3, it's going to be the same as 3xx, which is minus 3x squared. The third one is x by 11, so it's going to be plus 11x. The next one's going to be minus 2x squared. Next one's going to be minus 2 by minus 3x. You're going to multiply them, so minus 2 by minus 3 is plus 6x. Minus 2 multiplied by 11 is minus 22. So what we're going to do next is we're going to underline the ones that are the same. This x squared is the same as that one. The blue ones, 11x and 6x, are the same. So what we're going to get is x cubed. The green's going to turn into minus 5x squared. The blues will turn into 11x plus 6x is 17x. And the last one there is going to be minus 22, okay? That's the answer to that one. Next question. Write in its simplest form. Now notice that this isn't a solved question, it's just asking you to write it out or to multiply them out. So when you multiply them out, what you're going to get is you're going to get 3x plus 6 plus 12x plus 4. Then you're going to add them together, the 3x and the 12x together to get 15x. You're going to add the 6 and the 10 together to give you plus 10. So the answer is going to be 15x plus 10. Next one, factorize. Factorize means take out what they have in common. The d is in common because you can see the d in both of them. Open up your brackets. Remember, there's got to be a plus in the middle. So what we're going to get is d multiplied by what gives you 5cd. That's going to be 5c. And then the d without the 7 is going to be 5c plus 7. Now if you aren't sure, just multiply these back out. And what you'll get is 5cd plus 7d. Hence you know you're correct. Now this second question is also a factorized question. Okay, so these are all factorized questions. And when you're factorizing this, break it up into two sets. Okay, so two sets of two terms. Now what you're going to notice is take a out of the first one. Only has an a in common, so take out a, and what you're going to be left with is take a away from this and you're left with x. Take a out of 3ay, and all you're left with, if you take the a out, you're left with 3y. Next one, there's no letter to take out because x and y are completely different, so you have to look at the numbers. Look at the number 4 and the number 12. Okay, does 4 divide into 12? 4, 8, 12. So 4 goes in 3 times. Okay, so take 4 out, and what you're going to be left with is x, because 4 multiplied by x is 4x. Now 4 multiplied by what gives you 12y? 4 multiplied by 3y gives you 12y. Now you do what you did last time. You notice that this one here is the second bracket, so this is going to be x plus 3y. And then the other term here is going to be, we have a plus 4 and an a that aren't used, so we're going to use a plus 4. Now what's going to happen here is, if you're wondering why all this works or why is it the same thing, what you could just do is you can check your answer by multiplying it out. So this part here you don't necessarily need to do, it's just checking the answer for you. Okay, so let's multiply these out. Now remember, the way to multiply these out is the following. A, first number, second bracket, a multiplied by x plus 3y, second term, which is the 4, multiplied by the second bracket. Now all we're going to do is multiply this out. Now look at the way it's done. It's the exact same as the previous line. We're going to multiply these out. And when we multiply these out, what we're going to get is ax plus 3ay plus 4x plus 12y. Now you know why they're the same, okay? So you don't need this part here. It's okay, but it shows you why it's true. Next part. Now once again, as I said earlier, you can see that this question is one of these special numbers, okay? So it's the same as a squared minus b squared equals a plus b, a minus b. And what we're going to get is the following, okay? What we're going to get is that's going to be x squared. What number multiplied by itself gives you 49? Also, if you aren't sure, just put the square root of 49 down, and you'll find out that it's 7. So it's going to be x squared minus 7 squared. And now you know that a is x and b is 7. So you're going to get x plus 7 and x minus 7. So it's going to be x plus 7, x minus 7. Now next part. Once again, the tale of 3 lines. Okay, so we have the red line, we have the blue line, and we have the green line. Okay, 3 lines. Remember to put your numbers into their brackets before you begin. Now what happens here is the following. We're going to get 5 into 5 to the blue line, 5 into 5x plus 1. Next to the green line, it's going to be minus. See the minus here? Minus 3 into x plus 6. And that's all going to be divided by the red line, which is 3 multiplied by 5, which is 15. Now also what we got to do from here is multiply things out. And what we're going to get is 25x plus 5. Because 5 multiplied by 5x is 25x. 5 multiplied by 1 is 5. Minus 3 multiplied by x is minus 3x. Minus 3 multiplied by 6 is minus 18. And this is all divided by 15, okay? So, when it's all divided by 15, we're just going to put them in. The green numbers here is 25x minus 3x, and that'll give you 22x. The blue numbers here is going to be plus 5 minus 18. That's going to get you minus 13. And this here is all going to be over 15, okay? Now the next question wants us to verify the answer. Okay, so we've already done a verification, verifying the answer before. Okay, so we have here is we have 5x plus 1 over 3 minus x plus 6 over 5. Okay, and the next one we have is we have our answer from the last part, which is 22x minus 13 over 5. Now remember, we have to put in x equals 4 into both of these equations and prove that they're the same thing, okay? So what we're just going to do here, just going to rub out the x's here and replace them with 4's, okay? So as said before, that's going to be a 4. This here is going to be a 4. But now, guys, remember the minus 1 here, right? So remember the two of these are going to be in brackets, okay? So the full thing is going to be multiplied by minus, okay? And we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to get rid of this and we're going to put in a bracket 4, okay? Because that's what we're asked to do, bracket 4. Now let's see if we can do this, okay? So 20 plus 1 over 3 minus 4 plus 6 is 10 over 5. So what we're going to be left with here is we're going to get 21 over 3 minus 2, because 10 over 5 is 2. 21 over 3 is 7. 7 minus 2. This equals 5. Now, to verify that this, we got the answer for x equals 4 into this equation. Now we got to get our answer to part 1. Now remember, this is our answer to part 1, and we've replaced x with 4. So let's see what happens. We get 22 multiplied by 4 is 88. 88 minus 13 divided by 5. 88 minus 13 is 75. And 75 divided by, now remember, it's actually over 15, okay? So I just took this down wrong. The answer to the last question was over 15, okay? So just be careful not to make an easy error, okay? Because we knew we were expecting the same answer, so it's got to be over 15. 75 over 15, and this is equal to 5, okay? So this equals 5, okay? So now we know that both answers are the same. Hence, we have verified our answer. Okay. The next question, solve this equation. Now once again we're going to do our reference number, the number that comes in front of here, and the last number. We're going to multiply them by each other, and we're going to get minus 21. Now, as discussed before, when doing these, you're just giving them a makeover. So you're going to say x bracket something equals 0. Okay, so we're doing the factorized part first. Now we're going to set up our factors for 21. We can have 21 and minus 1. Two numbers that multiply together to give it 21. Another option might be minus 21 and 1. Another option could be minus 3 multiplied by 7. Or a third option could be, let's say, 3 and plus 7. Okay, so just be careful of all your options. Okay, so remember, some of them are pluses and some of them are minuses. So let's check out the answer for each one. This one here would be an answer of 20. Now we want the answer to be the middle number, so we want our answer to be minus 4. Okay, this one here is going to give us minus 20. That's no good either. This one here is going to give us plus 4. That's no good either. So these ones aren't any good at the moment. And then the fourth one, which is going to be, I've already used plus 7, so it's going to be minus 3 plus 7. Oh, sorry, minus 7 plus 3, excuse me. And this one here is going to give us the answer of minus 4. Okay, and this is the correct answer. This is the one we need. So we need plus 3 and minus 7. So that's going to be plus 3. This one here is going to be minus 7. Then what we know from this is either the first number equals 0 or the second number equals 0. So we know that x plus 3 must be equal to 0, or x minus 7 equals 0. Bring it over, and x equals 7. Bring this over this side, and we know that x must be equal to minus 3. Okay, the next one, this is what we call an inequality. 3 multiplied by a certain number, when you add on 2, has to be smaller than or equal to 8. X element n, this means that the numbers have to be whole numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the way up. You cannot have 0, and you cannot have fractions, okay? So let's test this out. So what the first thing we're going to do is bring over the 2 over to your side. So we're going to get is 3x less than or equal to 8 minus 2. 3x is less than or equal to 3x is less than or equal to 6, okay? Now that we know that it's less than or equal to 6, what we're going to do next, so we're going to get is x, bring the 3 underneath. So 3 is multiplication on one side, which makes division on the other side. Okay, so when we get rid of that 3, we want to get x on its own. So 6 divided by 3, and then we're going to get x is less than or equal to 2. So we need numbers that are smaller than or equal to 2. So the only two we're allowed are the numbers 1 and 2. So our answer is 1 and 2. Or sometimes you may want to present it like this, 1 and 2. Okay. Now, factorize. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to factorize. So we're going to take out a. So factorize, remove a, and we're going to get a equal a. Take it, leave in what's not a. So take a out of 4a. What we're going to be left with is 4. Take a out of ab. You're going to be left with b. If you aren't sure about this answer, just quickly multiply it back out. That'll be 4a plus ab. So it's definitely correct. This one is the same as last time. Break it up into two sets of 2. The first one you can take 2 out of, and you're going to be left with x minus y. This is also a factorized question, okay? The second set, you can see that they have c in common, so take out c, and you're also left with x minus y. Now what you can see here again is that these two brackets are, once again, they're exactly the same, so they go in second. And then what happens here is what goes in first is going to be 2 plus c. Now, as I said, if you aren't sure about this question, you could always multiply it back out and you'll get it back to the top, okay? Next question, okay, so what we got to do is we got to do the reference number method, because we're asked to factorize. Once again, this is more factorized questions, okay? So we're factorizing both of these questions here, this one and this one, okay? So to factorize this, we multiply the number by the last number, and we get a number of 1 multiplied by minus 24. So the reference number is going to be minus 24. Break minus 24 up into its factors. So there's lots of options here. We could go for 3 8 minus 3 plus 8. We could go for plus 3 minus 8. We could maybe want to go for, let's say, minus 4 plus 6. Or another option could be simply plus 4 minus 6. Now, whichever one we choose, it has to be equal to minus 2. So let's go for the green option. The green option would give us plus 5. That's no good. The red option gives us minus 5. No good as well. The purple option gives us 2 plus 2. That's no good. I want minus 2. So plus 4 minus 6, that gives us minus 2. So what we'll get, our answer here is going to be x. Now remember, the brackets come in, so our answer here should be x plus 4, x minus 6, okay? Now, this next question here, another example of 144. Now remember, I told you about those perfect numbers. So like 9 multiplied by 9 is 81, 10 multiplied by 10 is 100, 11 by 11 is 121, and 12 by 12 is 144. It's one of those special numbers again, okay? So remember what we said about these ones, where there's a minus in between and both of them are squares, okay? So what you're going to get is a squared minus b squared equals a plus b into a minus b. So what's going to happen here is 144. We're going to square root 144 and see what it comes out, and the answer will be 12. Okay, so now we know that this is the same thing as 12 squared, or 12 multiplied by 12, and this is going to be y squared. Okay, so what we can do next is we can just compare this to a and b. Okay, so a is 12. Okay, so a is going to be 12, and b is going to be y. So all we have to do here now, just put the answer in purple. It's going to be 12 plus y and 12 minus y. Okay. Next thing, once again, just using the three arrows, the blue arrow, the red arrow, the green arrow. It doesn't matter which color they are once you keep them the same. Okay, so the first part is going to be the blue arrow. 5 multiplied by 7 gives you 35. The next part is going to be the green arrow. 7 multiplied by x minus 1. The next part here is going to be the red one, which is minus 5 into x minus 2. We're going to multiply these out now. So what we're going to get, so we're going to get 7x minus 7 minus, so 7 multiplied by x is 7x, 7 multiplied by minus 1 is minus 7, minus 5 multiplied by x is minus 5x, minus 5 multiplied by minus 2 is plus 10. Okay, that's all going to be over 35. Okay, now you just got to look at each one and go, okay, which ones go together? The 7x and the minus 5x go together, and that's going to give you 7 minus 7x is minus 5x is going to give you 2x's. Then we have the minus 7 and the plus 10. Minus 7 euro plus 10 euro gives you plus 3 euro. And this is all over 35, okay? Now, our next part we're asked, hence or otherwise solve this equation. Now, what we know from the first part of our question is this area here, this red box if you will, it's going to be the same as our answer in the first question. So it's going to be 2x plus 3 divided by 35. And that's all going to be equal to 1, okay? Now, what we need to do here is we need to do what's called cross multiplication. Okay, so 1 is the same as 1 over 1. So when you're cross multiplying, you'll see an equal sign in the middle. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this 1 up here, and this 35, so it's like a diagonal ball. Okay, so the 35 goes up this way. So if you imagine the equals is the middle, this is top left is the 2x plus 3, bottom left is the 35, top right is the 1, and bottom right is 1. So this is divided by 35 on one side. When it moves over to your side, it's going to be multiplied by 35. Okay, so it's going to be, the blue arrow is going to be 35 multiplied by 1 is going to give you 35. The next, the purple arrow is going to be 1 multiplied by 2x plus 3. Now, what you're going to notice here is 1 multiplied by 2x plus 3. Well, it's the same thing. It's going to be 2x plus 3. So we know that 2x plus 3 equals 35. Now, we were asked to solve this equation. Now, when you're solving the equation, you're going to get x equals something. So you need x on its own. So the first thing we need to get rid of is get rid of the the 2 is being multiplied by x, so the 2 is the last thing to leave. So we're going to get rid of the 3 first. 3 goes over to your side, so it's going to be 2x equals 35 minus 3. 2x equals 32. X equals 32 divided by 2. X equals 16. Okay. Next part we're doing is a simultaneous equation. Now, what we want to do is we want to get rid of one letter, right? So we're going to get rid of the y's. Now, what we do in these questions is we usually add down. So when we add down here, we end up with 7x plus 3y equals 59 plus 73. 59 plus 73 will be 132, okay? But like, we want to get rid of one of the letters. That didn't get rid of the letter. So ideally what we'd like to have here is we'd like something that gets rid of one of the letters when we add it down. Now if we were to imagine that this is a minus 2, minus 2y, that'd be ideal. If it was minus 2y, when you add it down, plus 2y minus 2y, they'd cancel each other out. So what I'd like to do here is I need to multiply everything here by minus 2. So I almost do like a magic mirror between the two of these, right? So this is a 1y. So I'm going to multiply the top one by 1 and the bottom one by 2. Okay? I also need one of them to be minus, so I'm going to multiply the bottom one by minus 2, okay? So what we're going to get is this. We're going to get 3x plus 2y equals 73. Okay, because we're multiplying everything by 1. Now multiply everything by 2. 4x by minus 2 is minus 8x. Y by minus 2 gives you minus 2y. And 59 multiplied by 2 is minus 118. Okay, now we're going to add directly down. And what we're going to get is 3x. So if you imagine just adding directly down. Okay, so this one here, green box goes directly down. Red box goes directly down here, and then we have our blue box that goes down here. Okay, and we have the equal sign firmly underneath. So what's going to happen is the green box is going to turn up as minus 5x, the red box is going to be 0y, and the blue box is going to be minus 45. We need to take away 118 minus 73, and what we're going to be left with is minus 5x equals minus 45. Okay, so we want to get x on its own. What's stopping x being on the own is minus 5. It's multiplied by minus 5 on the left side of equals, which means when you bring it down over the other side, it's going to be multiplied, divided by minus 5. Okay, so x equals 9. Okay. Next part. Find the values of x for which 3x plus 2 is less than 11. So first thing we're going to do is bring the x over to your side. So we're going to get 3x is less than 11 minus 2. 3x is less than 9. X, now remember that you want the x on its own, okay? So the x is going to be 9, it's multiplied by 3 on one side, which makes it divide by 3 on the other side. So you want all numbers that are smaller than 3. Now remember, for natural numbers, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and above. Now remember, your number has to be smaller than 3. So are you allowed the number 3? You're not allowed the number 3 because it's equal to size to 3. So you're not allowed to have it because there's no equal sign underneath. So it's not allowed to be equal to 0, okay? So our answer for this question is just going to be 1 and 2. Okay. Now, next question here. Factorize. Now to factorize for these questions, what we're going to do is going to look to pair them up and take out what they have in common. They have a y in common, so it's going to be y into 16x plus 11. The next part is going to occur in two pairs. Okay, so what happens here is we take out the number 5. So 5 is going to get 5. See the way there's no letters to take out. X and y are not the same letter, so we can't take them out. But what we know is 10 is divisible by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay? So what we can do here is we can take out 5. So 5 multiplied by x is 5x. Then we have a plus in the middle. And then we can say, oh wait, this could be 2y, because 5 multiplied by 2y is 10y. So we're happy with that, okay? Now the next part we're going to look at, we're going to take out a here, okay, because a needs to come out, because a is in both of them. It's the only letter it has in common. So we're going to take out a, and when we take a out of this, we get x plus 2y. Now what we have left is these brackets are the same as each other, as they have been in all other years. We've done these questions. It's going to be x plus 2y, and it's going to be 5 plus a. Okay, because these two here are not used, so they will go into the green part here. Okay. Now, next question here is a factorize. Both these are factorized. Okay, so once again, now what we know about this question is it has an x squared, an x in the middle, and a 90 in front. So we're going to use the reference number method. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply 1 by 90. So 1 multiplied by minus 90, excuse me. So the reference number for this question is going to be minus 90. Let's break up 90 into its roots. So what will multiply together to give you 90? You can go for 3 and 30. Or maybe 9 and 10 looks like a nice one, okay? Now let's try this out, okay? So 9 and 10, we'll rub out 9 and 10 for a second and just use different colours just to identify that it's a different set of factors. Now factors are numbers that multiply together to give you a number. So for instance, the factors of minus 90 are 3 and 30 or 9 and 10. So this one could be minus 3 plus 30. This one here could be minus 9 plus 10. Another answer could be plus 9 minus 10. So let's see which one works. Minus 3 plus 30 gives you minus 20, plus 27. Plus 27 is no good because we're looking for minus 1x. We want minus 1 to be our answer, okay? Minus 9 plus 10 gives you plus 1. That's no good. The next one is 9 minus 10, that gives you minus 1. Minus 1 is what we're looking for. So as you said, the factorized questions, remember it's not a solve question, there's no equals 0 sign here, so what we're going to get is x minus 10, because we said this one's the correct one, so we're going to use minus 10 and 9, and the other one's going to be x plus 9. Now, as discussed before, we're just going to get this is the difference of two squares. There's a minus in between, so this is going to change into x squared minus 11 squared. And as discussed before, we know a squared minus b squared. This is a learn off. We have to learn this off by heart. A minus b. So a is x, okay? So we can just simply move this over here. Just compare it directly downwards, okay? A is x, and this time b is 11. Okay? So what we're going to get as our answer is we're going to get x plus 11 and x minus 11. Now if you aren't sure about these answers, right, the answer to these questions, you just multiply them out. So imagine what I showed you earlier. Now this here, what I'm doing in this, let's say in this blue box, I'm going to do it all in blue, is basically just proving the answer, okay, to show where it comes from. So if I want to multiply these out, I do the first number, first term, and second term, and this is second bracket, okay, so it's first term multiplied by second bracket, so it's going to be x multiplied by x minus 11. The second part is plus 11 into x minus 11. Now remember, this is factorized and it's just giving something a makeover. This should still look the same, okay? So x multiplied by x is x squared. X multiplied by minus 11 is minus 11x. 11 multiplied by x is plus 11x. 11 by 11 is minus 121. And what's going to happen here is minus 11x plus 11x's, they cancel each other out. And what you're just going to be left with is x squared minus 121. Okay? Next question is a fraction question. Once again, just do 3 lines. 5 multiplied by 2. Remember to put your brackets in at the start so you don't make any errors. 5 multiplied by 7 plus x plus 7. And then the last one here, the blue one, can be 2 multiplied by x minus 2. So we're going to have 2 multiplied by 2x minus 1. We're going to have 5 plus 5 into x plus 7. And this is all going to be divided by 10. Because 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. Okay, so the 2 goes up beside the 2x minus 1. The 5 goes up beside the x plus 7. And 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. Now all we got to do is multiply these out. Okay, and what we get is 4x minus 2 plus 2 by 2x is 4x, 2 by minus 1 is minus 2, 5 by x is 5x, 5 multiplied by 7 is plus 35, and this is all divided by 10. So what we're going to get next is 4x plus 5x is 9x, 35 minus 2 is 4x plus 5x is 9x. Then we have minus 2 plus 35 gives you plus 33. This is all divided by 10. Now, same question as last time, hence or otherwise, you know that this red box is the same as our answer in this question here, because they're both the same thing. Look at it, exactly the same question. So all we need to do here is just write down 9x plus 33 divided by 10 equals 6. Now, once again, remember that 6 is the same as 6 divided by 1. You're going to cross multiply the 10, which is division on the left side, is going to turn into multiplication on the right. And this 1, which is division on the right side, is going to turn into multiplication when it's on the left. So what we should have here is we're going to have 1 multiplied by 9x plus 33. And this equals 6 times 10. 6 multiplied by 10. So all we got to do is just multiply these out. And what we're going to get is 9x plus 33 all equals 60. Bring over the 33 on the other side. Okay, you want to get the x on its own. It's a solve question. Solve the equation. You got to get x on its own. To get x on its own, you get rid of the 33 first, because the 9 and the x stay together till the end. Okay, so 60 minus 33, 9x must equal 27. Therefore, x equals 27 divided by 9, because the 9 is multiplication on the left side of the equal sign, which makes it division on the right side. Therefore, x has to equal 3. Solve the equation. Now remember, as with all these questions, when you're solving these equations, what we're going to do is we're going to get it's a x squared with 5x and the minus 36. We're going to factorize this part first. Multiply 1 by minus 36. So 1 multiplied by minus 36 to get the reference number. The reference number is 1 multiplied by minus 36, and the answer to that is minus 36. The reference number is minus 36. Break it up into its factors. So its factors are going to be, we can go for 9 and 4 maybe, or 6 by 6. Now, see the way it's a 5 in the difference? I think 9 and 4 is the way to go, so I'd recommend using plus 9 and minus 4. Plus 9 minus 4 gives you plus 5. And that's what we seem to be looking for. So what we're going to get here, now remember for these questions it breaks up into 2 brackets. Okay, so plus 9 goes into one of them, and minus 4 goes into the other one. Either one of these two numbers has to be equal to 0, so it's either x plus 9 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. Bring it over to your side, so x equals 4, or x equals minus 9. Now, next question, we're going to try and write this out in its simplest form. To write it in its simplest form, you're just going to multiply it out. And when you multiply it out, 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 3 is plus 12, 2 times 5x is 10x, 2 times 4 is 8. Underline what they have in common. The 4x and the 10x, that comes 16x. The 12 plus the 8 gives you 20. 16x plus 20. Okay. Next question, factorize. Once again, take out what they have in common. They have y's in common. So when you take them out, you're going to get y into x plus w. Because y multiplied by x is xy, y multiplied by w is yw. Okay? Remember, when you multiply letters, you simply place them beside each other. Okay? So the next thing we're going to have here is instead of having 2, this one has 4, so you're going to break it into 2 sets of 2. And like last time, you're going to look for something to take out in common. Both of them have a's in them, so we're going to take out the a, we're going to open up the brackets, and when you take the a out, you have x left, x minus y. When you take the b out of the second two, you're also going to have x minus y. As with all of these questions, the second bracket is the same, therefore it goes into x minus y. And then the first bracket is going to be a plus b, so the first bracket is going to be a plus b into x minus y. Okay. Now, next question here. Once again, the number 36, it comes under the category of a squared plus b, a squared minus b squared, excuse me. A squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b, a minus b. And what we can have here is we can get the square root of 36, see what number 6 is, it's going to be p squared minus 6 squared, and 6 squared. Okay, so p squared minus 6 squared, and what we can say here is that a is the same as p, and b is the same as 6, so the answer for this one's going to be p plus 6 and p minus the number 6. Now, in this question here, 4a squared, we've got to factorize as well, same as 4aa plus 8a. Now what can we take out of two of these? Is 8 divisible by 4? Yes it is. We can take out 4. Do they have a letter in common? The a's have in common, so we can take out 1a. Now, if you take out 4a from 4aa, you just imagine you get rid of the 4a, and all of a sudden, all you're going to be left with is the a. Divide 8 by 4, and what you're going to be left with is 2. Take out the a, and you're going to be left with a plus 2. Okay, so 4a multiplied by a is 4a squared, correct? 4a multiplied by 2 is 8a. So that question's okay. It's a correct answer. Next one. Solve this equation. Once again, it's an example of the reference number 1 multiplied by minus 14. The reference number is going to be 1 multiplied by minus 14, which gives you minus 14. Going to break this up into its factors. You can go for 7 and 2. You want it to be minus 5 in the middle, go for minus 7 plus 2. Minus 7 plus 2 gives you minus 5. Break it up into its brackets. So you're going to get x minus 7, x plus 2, and this all equals 0. Put either the first number, either x minus 0 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. Bring the 2 out of your side, x equals minus 2. Bring the 7 out of your side, or x equals 7. Okay. Now write this question in its simplest form, right? So once again, it's going to be 3 arrows, red arrow, green arrow, and blue arrow, okay? The red arrow is going to give us 4 multiplied by 5, which gives us 20. Excuse me. 4 multiplied by 5, which is 20. And so let's see what the blue arrow. Now remember your brackets, okay? The brackets are very important to making sure that you make no errors in the question, okay? So x plus 4 has to go in a bracket as well. So to do this, what's going to happen is going to be 5. So the blue arrow is going to be 5 into 3x plus 2. The green arrow is going to be minus 4 into x plus 4. And multiply these out. So what we're going to get here is 5 times 3x is going to be 15x. 5 times 2 is plus 10. 4 times x minus 4x. Minus 4 plus 6 minus 16. Divided by 20. Okay, blue. And blue, 15 minus 4 is 11x. 10 minus 16 is minus 6. And this is all divided by 20. Now, verify our answers, right? So to verify our answer, we have to write down the two of them, okay? So the first one is going to be 3x plus 2. Or sorry, 3x plus 2. Verify our answer. So to verify our answer, we got to compare what it looked like before to what it looks like afterwards, okay? So this is before we did the question. And this is after. Okay? And the after is 11x minus 6 divided by 20. Now, what we're told to do is we want to replace x with 6, okay? So let's rub out the x's and replace them with a 6. Okay, so it's going to be 3 times 6, 6 plus 4, and then over this side it's going to be 6. Now because these, it's just like a makeover, before and after, it's still the same number, okay? So this should come out as the same answer, okay? So we're just going to try multiplying this out. So 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 2 divided by 4. Now this one here is going to be 6 plus 4 is minus 10, is going to be 10 over 5. Okay, so what we can get here now is 18 plus 2 is 20. 20 divided by 4. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 5 minus 2 equals 3. So if they are actually the same, they should both equal 3. Let's try this one out. 11 multiplied by 6 is 66. Minus 6 divided by 20. 66 minus 6 is 60. 60 divided by 20 is 3. So, we know that they're same because both answers are 3. Now, last one. And this last one, we're going to solve this equation here. So to solve the equation, we need to get a letter on its own. So we want to get the x on its own. So we're going to multiply out first. So we're going to get is 5x minus 6 equals 3x plus 12. Then we're going to bring over the x's onto one side. The 3x goes over one side. The minus 6 goes over the other side. So we're going to end up with 5x minus 3x, because it was plus 3x on the right side. It makes it minus 3x on the left. That's going to be 12 plus 6. And what we're going to get is 2x equals 18. Get the 2 on its own. We get the x on its own. It's multiplied by 2 on the left side, which means when it goes over here, it's going to be divided by 2. And this means that x equals 9. Okay, factorize. Factorize, we take out what they have in common. Is 8 divisible by 4? Yes, it is. Do they have a letter in common? They have the letter B in common. What multiplied by 4b gives you 4ab? It's going to be a, because 4b multiplied by a is 4ab. Next part, 4b multiplied by what gives you 8b? And that's going to be 2, because 4b multiplied by 2 is 8b's, okay? Next thing, two sets of 2's. Once again, we're still factorizing, okay? So we're going to factorize 2 of these. Take a out, and you're going to be a into b plus 2c. The next 2 you can take out 5. You can't take out any letters because the letters aren't the same. Take out 5 and you get b plus 2c. Just check before you leave. A multiplied by b, ab, correct. A multiplied by 2c, 2ac, correct. 5 multiplied by b is 5b. 5 multiplied by 2c is 10c. Okay, so we're okay. We're good to go with that. Then you notice that both these brackets are the same. Okay, which makes this b plus 2c as the second bracket. And then what's going to be the same here is a and 5, so it's going to be a plus 5. Okay, next part here, we're asked to factorize. We're still factorizing, okay? So factorize. Now, so again, always multiply the first number by the last number and you get a reference of minus 15. The reference number of minus 15. So we're going to break it up to its factors. Let's go for 3 and 5. We want plus 2 as the answer, so we're going to go for plus 5 minus 3. Add them together and you get plus 2. So now we know the answer here is x minus 3 into x plus 5. Okay. Next one, this is just a learn off, because you know a squared plus b squared is a plus b, a minus b. You need to know that off by heart. So therefore x squared minus y squared is simply x plus y, x minus y. Last question, once again with the fractions, red, green and blue. Remember to put in the brackets at the start, okay, so you don't want to make any easy errors, okay? So we just undo this for a sec. We're going to use black here to put in the brackets, don't want to get mixed up. And now we have the blue line goes up here. So the blue line is 3 multiplied by x plus 5. The green line is 4 multiplied by x plus 2. And the red line is 4 multiplied by 3, which gives us 12. Let's multiply these out. We get 3x plus 15. 3 multiplied by x is 3x, 3 multiplied by 5 is 15, 4 multiplied by x is 4x, 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. We're going to divide all of this by 12. 3x plus 4x is 7x, 15 plus 8 is 23. Divide all of that by 12. Okay. Next part, hence or otherwise solve this equation. So what we're just after doing is we're just after presenting this as a single fraction, okay? And if you look down, this part is exactly the same as this part here. And what we did in question 1 was we gave it a makeover. We turned this red box here into this. That's what you do when you get a single fraction. Remember, it's not a solve question, it's a simplify question. It's the same thing, okay? So all what we need to do is put in 7. So all we need to do here is get 7x plus 23. Excuse me. 7x plus 23. We're going to divide that by 12. And this equals 5 over 2. So remember your brackets, okay, when you're multiplying. So this is going to be cross multiplication. Bring the 12 up here. It was divided by 12 on the left. It's going to be multiplied by 12 on the right. Bring this 2 up here. It's going to be was divided by 2 on the right. It's going to be multiplied by 2 on the left. So 2 multiplied by 7x plus 23. And that's going to be equal to 5 multiplied by 12. So what we're going to have here is 14x. 2 multiplied by 7 is 14x. 2 multiplied by 23 is plus 46. Equals 60. Okay. 46. Bring it over to the other side. 14x equals 60 minus 46. And what we're going to get is 14x is the same as 14, because 60 minus 46 is 14. Use your calculator. It's divided by 14, so we're going to x equals 14 divided by 14, and that equals 1. Okay, that's your answer. Now, last question. We're going to solve for x and y. Now this is once again one of these simultaneous equations. Now, if you add downwards, okay, so remember when we're adding downwards, it's like 3 little lanes here, okay, so that'd be 4x. The green lane here would be y minus plus 2y, that will give us plus y. And then the blue lane is a plus 5, which is 13. Now we want one of these to disappear, so I'm going to go for the y's. I want the y's to disappear somehow. So to make the y's disappear, equations are like balance beams, balancing weights, right? So if I had x plus, let me see, we'll go back here for a second. If we had 3x minus y equals 8, if I double both sides, it's still the same thing. So if I was to double both sides, I could say that 6x minus 2y equals 16. That's doubling both sides. It's still the same equation. Okay? If you double the weight on one side, you double the weight on the other side. So this is the principle on which simultaneous equations are based. Okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to do like our little magic mirror here. We're going to multiply the top one by 2. And the bottom one by 1, because a 1 comes in front of y. One of them's already a negative, and one of them's a positive, so they should cancel out nicely, okay? So we're going to get, let's multiply this by 2, we're going to get, multiply the top one by 2. So what's going to happen is 3 multiplied by 2 is 6x, minus 1y multiplied by 2 is minus 2y, 8 multiplied by 2 gives you 16. Second one, just multiply everything by 1, stays the same. Now we're in business with this, because what we can do is we can just add them all directly downwards. Okay, so we're going to do our 3 lanes again. We're going to have our red lane, we're going to have our green lane, and we're going to have our blue lane, okay? And we're going to get answers for each one. The red lane, which is the x, is going to be 7x. The green lane, which is going to be 0y, because minus 2y plus 2y is no y's whatsoever. And then the third lane is going to be 16 plus 5 is 21. Then what we're going to do here is 7x equals 21. Bring over the 7 on our side. X equals 21 divided by 7. And this gives us x equal to 3. Now, if you work out what x is, you have to work out what y is. So read the question carefully, okay? So what we know is that x is 3. Pick any equation you want at the start. So I'm going to go for 3x minus y equals 8. So what we can say here is that if x is 3, just replace x with 3. So 3 multiplied by 3 minus y equals 8. 9, 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. 9 minus y equals 8. Therefore, y has to be 1, because 9 minus 1 equals 8. Okay, so y equals 1. Okay. Now, there was a question earlier like this. Just make sure that when you're doing simultaneous equations, that you always do the x and the y value. Okay. So what we might have forgotten earlier in this video, it's very easy to forget about getting both values of x and y. And I think this is the last one I did, and I got x equals 9. So I got x equals 9 for this one, but I never solved the y value. Okay, so that's an easy error to make. So 4x plus y equals 59. Remember that x equals 9, so it's going to be 4 multiplied by 9 plus y equals 49. 4 multiplied by 9 is 36. 36 plus y equals 59. Y equals 59 minus 36. Y equals 23. Okay, and that's the end of that question there. The answer will be 23 and 9. Okay.